I think it's 11:01 now. So I don't know when we want to start. Allowing people in.
Maybe in 5 minutes.
So Tabitha, I do not have that option.
That is fine. You just let me know when you want a post pinned.
Right, thank you.
Miriam, I think you can start.
Yeah, Miriam, can you hear us? Hello, Miriam.
I can hear you, sir.
Miriam, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you can begin the session. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Depending the parts of the world you are all welcome to the live section of Auto Aid INASP ASP grant writing proposals. Here we have the facilitators, you have the initiators from the Auto Aid, and you have the participants. You're all welcome. We are here to listen to ourselves, how far we have gone, change ideas, and get more knowledge. So the participants, this is your day, this is your floor. But we are, the facilitators are here to have diverse knowledge, to engage more, learn from you, and you learn from us too. Thank you, you're all welcome. My name is Miriam Ngozi Alike from Department of Philosophy, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Nigeria. Thank you all. So, any participant that is here that wants to ask questions, or the members of Auto Aid that wants to talk, or the facilitators, the floor is open so we can start the discussion. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. So my name is Catherine Koech. I'm from Kenya. I have a question. So my question is, when preparing to write a proposal, are this part of submitting a letter of intent or letter of inquiry, or we call it proposal? So my question is, what should we write in that letter of intent, or what should be the content of that letter? Thank you.
The facilitators, the floor is open. Shall I go ahead? Many of us are here, so the floor is open. Someone can start. Well, Catherine, to answer your question, it's a letter of intent. You know, when you see a call for a grant or for proposal, they have guidelines and rules. So the best thing is for you is to look at the guidelines, to look at the rules and follow them. It is from that call for that particular proposal that will guide you in what you will write. Because, for example, there are some calls you will see there, they will give you instructions. They'll ask you if you have done a work concerning the area, maybe gender, democracy, or any of the sustainable goals, or governance, or agriculture, or artificial intelligence. And they'll tell you for you to participate, you must have a publication or 2 or 3 publications. And again, they will tell you, do you have a PhD? Your PhD, is it up to 3 years or 4 years or 5 years? They will now ask you, sometimes they will prefer a female, the female as a gender, that they prefer people to write proposals, mostly females, because they've been lacking females there. So for you to write a letter of intent, you must look at the call for a particular proposal and know what they want. Is what they want to guide you in what you write. Thank you. Facilitator Ikeria, can we hear from you too?
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody. I would like to add to the contributions we have on the ground already from our facilitator for today. It's important when writing the letter of intent to see that you project your interest, because the assessors, the evaluators are looking for interest. They're gauging your interest, they're gauging your eligibility for that application. So if you can see that the time you're investing in preparing for the proposal would be wasteful in terms of no match with interest and eligibility, there'll be no need for expression of interest through that letter of intent. And also, like she has said, it's important that all your information will be there. The organization you're sending to, you have to look them up, ensure you saw the call properly, or is an unsolicited proposal, I don't know the type, that you are trying to respond to. So the contact is important. You're looking to have fund or some other resources depending on what your proposal seeks to achieve. So you should know the organization or individual, their contact, the phone number, and all of that. So you also make sure that your email address is a functional one that you're submitting. And if they need phone number, or you wish to be contacted through phone, at the foot of your letter of intent, you should be able to write, please contact me through phone or via phone call, assuming your email is not functional. So you should be able to guide the recipients on how best they can contact you to ensure that correspondences will be received by you. So you have a good introduction, make it succinct, like the material has said, make it succinct and catchy in that letter of intent. Also, re-echo the purpose of that proposal to align with the guidelines provided in the call that you are seeking, or if it's an unsolicited one, what intent, why you think the company, the organization, the individual can extend that hand of resources to you. Explain a little bit your proposal that you would like them to fund, because this is not the proposal itself. You just give, in a nutshell, just maybe an objective goal and importance of your proposal. You can put it there. So it's a time to do what we call peacocking. just to a little bit introduce, make it juicy, like Coca-Cola will say, serve cold Coke is sold. So make it sold that they can hunger to receive your proposal. In that way, you can rule. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Question?
Facilitator Eunice, do you want to contribute more to the topic? All right.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Welcome all the participants. With reference to the content that we have gathered from our week 1 material that we have, I do want to say that your letter of intent highly depends on what you do in your planning phase, because this is one of the processes that you go through during your planning phase in the grant application process. So if you have effectively done your planning stage, you have conducted all the resourceful persons, you have talked to the grant administrators and all that, then you actually have all the call details that are key for you to win that particular call grant. So in your letter of intent, I would say that you need to explain who you are, just like what you do if you're doing a personal statement. Briefly, just explain what you are so that you are proving yourself to be relevant to that particular call. And then give your expertise clearly. And now talk about your research interest and give your proposed research focus. Finally, talk about the significance, how important you think your proposed research work is going to be. And that content actually should be enough to convince the funding organization to consider your bid. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can we, okay.
Miriam,
yes.
There are 2 questions in the chat box. I don't know if this one is done. I could ask it.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Can we go ahead and ask the question?
Sure.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Balogun Peter. I'm speaking from Yaba College of Technology, Lagos, Nigeria. Now, my question is actually on, based on the experience I had some times ago. Now, for a researcher, you have a call for a proposal, and you have done everything, and you are so sure that you have done everything needed to meeting up with the requirements. And at the end of the day, it didn't come your own side, meaning that at the end of the day, perhaps something for one reason or the other, you were not being picked up. So what must I do? What must I do? That's the question I would like to know. Because I have followed everything from beginning to the end, and I'm so sure that, I have done it according to their request for proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does any of the facilitators want to speak concerning that? Okay, thank you. Before we move on, okay, Bernard. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I am Bernard Apia, one of the co-facilitators. I think it's a very good question. Sometimes you do the best you can, but you don't get it. I have an experience like that. My institution paid for me to go for a training in grant writing in a particular way. And when I submitted my application, I was so confident. And it didn't get funded. I mean, so what I did was, sometimes if you are not funded, it may not necessarily be because of your project, because the competition is so keen. Okay, the competition is so keen. So what I did at the time was that I learned from the reviewer comment, repackaged it to a different funder, and luckily I was funded in a second attempt to a different funder. So it sometimes happens that maybe the first one will not work, but as you keep trying, you may be successful at some point. So when you face a rejection, please don't get, it's difficult, but you can make positive things out of it. Just like sometimes you write to a manuscript, it gets rejected, you learn from the reviewer comments, and then you can work from it that way. I also say sometimes too, it's just that there may be a fundamental issue with your application. It may not be innovative, it may, so many things happen, but if it happens to you, it's unfortunate. Learn from it and see how best you can move forward with it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Please, can we mute ourselves? Please, can we mute ourselves? We want to talk one mute. Thank you.
In the chat box, Miriam, there are 2 questions in the chat box. They came long time. Maybe I can read for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first question is Majuma Nakaziva. It says, what international recommended format of a CV would you recommend in case of grants that have not specified one to use? And then there's a similar question, so I'll read it similar to the one I'm from reading. This one is from Patricia Vivian. It says, good afternoon, I'm Patricia Vivian from Kenya. I was just wondering, in a case where the grant has not given specifications on how one's CV should be done, what would you recommend that one does? Is there a format that is recommended internationally?
Okay, thank you.
That's the question.
Is there any facilitator that wants to take on that?
Of course.
All right. Okay.
Okay, thanks for having me once again. I wanted to talk to the earlier question, but let me go to the CV since we have a new question. So CV curriculum vitae is important that we follow a structure that is widely recognized and accepted in many countries. But we should look at what we are seeking to achieve with the CV. If we're looking for employment or we want it for academic opportunities, and for specific purpose for today, we are dealing with proposal writing. So I would like to provide the advice based on academic opportunities, which are the proposal writing will align more with. So you should have your personal information where you have the full name. It's not a time to write irrelevant information like your local community, number of children. I have lovely children. I have lovely uncles. People put things that are irrelevant in CV. They are not necessary. So keep it professional, your full name, how they can contact you. That's your address, your phone number, your email. So a date of birth, that will be maybe influenced by cultural nuances. Most countries would not like to have date of birth in the CV. It's not important because people can get biased about your age if they have interest. But if they so require, you can declare your date of birth. But in my CV, I don't have my date of birth there. Nationality may or may not, depending on what call you're responding to. As a global citizen, if you're responding to a call to biotechnology, being from Kenya, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from America, does not make you a better biotechnologist. You need to showcase the skills and competencies that make you the right person for that job. But if the callers so demand, you provide that. It's optional to have a brief statement about your career objectives, so they can see that the objectives for your career aligns with that proposal, because every funder would like to see that the fund will be used sustainably, not just for that project, but after it will have an enduring impact both on your career and maybe that of your environment. Assuming you're an academic, those in your laboratory, your colleagues, somewhat will benefit from what you're going to do with that money or other resources, maybe equipment that they invest in you. So a concise profile is also optional. You mustn't put it, but you can put it. It's not compulsory. So you should have your education listed in reverse chronological order. By reverse chronological order, what that means is that the ones that are more current should appear last. Sorry, should appear first. Like if my most current education is I've got a PhD, so I should have a PhD first before a master's degree or first degree. So in a reverse chronological order. So have the institution where you obtain the degree and where the institution is located, maybe by country, if they have similar names in different countries. So you can put city before the country. And the days you attended the institution will be required. Then degree obtained. What degree did you obtain? It's not enough that I've got a PhD or I've got a master's degree. In what? And then if it's a degree that you have specialization area, you should go ahead to state that. If you have a degree in environmental engineering with specialization in maybe environmental management or something, please so declare. Then if you have thesis or dissertation arising from that degree, to be good to mention the title of your dissertation. That should be followed by your work experience. So you also follow the reverse chronological order to give your work experience. So you should tell the potential readers where you worked, the organization, where it is located, when you were employed. If it's a past employment, so you date it from to. Job title. And one thing very tricky is that job titles differ from country to country, organization to organization. For example, I was a quality control officer in a particular company in Nigeria. And my job description was different from someone who had the same job title in another country, and even in Nigeria in another company. So that makes it very germane for you to briefly describe your responsibilities in that office and some accomplishments. So it's not enough that you go to your employment letter and dig up the responsibilities assigned to you, but what did you achieve? What made you stand out as someone who has handled that position? Then if you also have some experience in international work or cross-cultural experiences, it would be good to showcase that, so that if the goal of that proposal, the funders' criteria, so they may also want projects that will extend the bounds of culture or regional space. So bringing up such will also improve your chances of being taken. What are the relevant skills that you've got? Like language proficiency, like now everybody wants IT skills, other technical skills. Are there certifications you've got? So it will be a very good time to list those and make sure you use subheadings to put them so that it cannot be missed easily. And in formatting, ensure you have a uniform formatting so you don't confuse the reader. Once you've started a formatting style, follow that through to the end and tone down on italicizing, bold. Just don't use a lot of them. It would be good to highlight that you're using bold fonts for subheadings. So don't all of a sudden start using bold fonts for different things. So try and maintain an author style. And then your language should show your proficiency. If you're saying, I speak English very well, I speak French, so you shouldn't write broken French, assuming even your CV is in French. So you should showcase that by the way you write. If you've got research publications, you can put that. If it has to do with academics, you're publishing, and one of the goals may be to publish. I mean, you're doing a project or you're proposing a project that one of your objectives will be to publish in journals. So you should be able to show that you have the competency, that you have the capacity to write articles, and also you have published, so they can see the type of journals you've chosen and different kinds of things. If you've got some award, honors, and membership in professional organizations, so create a space and showcase such. This would be my feedback for you.
Hello. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
This is Nita Gauri here from Pakistan. Can you hear me?
Hello, Ikeria. Is that our network?
Okay. Actually, I am a research scientist and working at a non-profit organization. So this is very neat for us to write a grant for our organization. So my question is that if I just provide assistance in one grant in my career, and we did not get that grant, by the way. So my question is that at that time we only got one form to fill, and they did not require CV. So it is necessary to send CV every time, or it is the requirement of the sponsor organization to provide CV? And my second question is that as I read the material you sent us, so in that material it was written that CV should be brief and concise and focused, not extended. So if I have list of publications, so should I add my all publications in the CV or just recent one?
Okay, I think Ogola wants to speak. Ogola, you want to respond to that? It's a follow-up question, I think.
It's a question.
Okay, Ogola, you have a question?
Yes.
Oh, so sorry. I got the last part of the question. You're asking if you should put all your publications or the recent ones, neither. Okay, yes, so yes, you have to look at, if you see what Dr. Fumi Doherty had put here, that the essence of the CV is to show that you are the right person. Yeah. So if you follow that, you need to showcase all publications that are relevant, all relevant publications. So some may say list of all publications and now tell you the 10 most significant publications. In that case, you can put all your publications first and then select the 10 most recent and relevant publications to the application.
And do we need to submit a CV every time when we are applying for a grant? If a sponsor asks us or not? Do we need to submit a CV every time? Or the forms is enough only, in which we put our basic information?
Can I chip in my experience, please, with NIH?
Oh, okay, 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 go before I can respond.
Yeah, my name is Awal Kabu from Nigeria. I'm in the Kano Teaching Hospital, and I've been managing NIH grants for the past 17 years. And most of them, usually they are RO1s, that you have a bigger grants. And what I realized is that most of the time they request for BioSketch, because just as the first facilitator mentioned, it's a very competitive review. And then they are very concise with time in relation to the funding. So you will find that the guidelines that you'll be given, you will have to abide by what exactly is required. If it says CV, it will give you format of how the CV is supposed to be, including the content of what the presenter just made us to understand. And then secondly, if it is BioSketch, then you will have to follow the rules of the content of the BioSketch. That's just a little comment I would just want to add. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I hope, Nida, your question has been answered.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Miriam, do you want to take some more questions from the chat box, or maybe we go with Muhammad, who has raised his hand?
I think Miriam might have. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to read the questions? There's some questions in the chat box, or maybe Muhammad has his hand up. Maybe we can have his question, and then later on I could read the questions from the chat box. Is that okay?
Yeah. Good afternoon. Muhammad speaking. My name is Dr. Muhammad Kumo from Nigeria. The focus of the grant is mainly academic, but my own line of work is mainly in regards to public health, where we do receive grants or requests for proposal for particular interventions. So I was just wondering, is there any resource I can get for that, such that if there is also any explanation as to how maybe a CV can be done for those types of requests, whereby you want to do an intervention for public health purposes. Thank you. I hope my question was audible and heard.
Yes, Dr. Mohammed, we had you all. Just let them answer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Facilitator would like to take this question. We haven't heard from a few facilitators. Or Bernard.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick one. Yeah, as somebody who is a public health professional, I'm in academia, but also I do some work outside of academia. I would say that it's not always the case that grants are more academic related, focused. Of course, there are interventions to improve health conditions that may not necessarily be academic. So I would say that from my experience, though, working with institutions, some are academic institutions, some are non-academic institutions. Those that are non-academic institutions tend to not have the administrative infrastructure to help with the grant writing. In fact, there was one particular grant that, because of that, we had to make the submitter come from a university. Of course, the applicant institution was more like an agency within the Ministry of Health, and they didn't have the kind of infrastructure like research offices that help with submission. So that becomes an issue. So if you happen to work with an institution that is not research oriented, and your goal is to be submitting grant, I think it will be a good idea to do your best to have a small office that can help researchers who are submitting, because in the end, many of the grant applications, you need to have somebody in charge of research actually be the one who would sign on it. So it becomes a challenge, and some institutions have, or some funders have grants specifically to help with research administration. One of our colleagues mentioned the National Institutes of Health, NIH, for example. They do have some grant that sometimes look at, have to manage research grant that funders may have, people may have, but also even have to help with the submissions and all that. So I think we can start from somewhere. You don't need to get funding to be able to do that first. I think that it has to be done in a manner that will make the people in that institution, the leaders, become aware of the need to have that kind of infrastructure. And also, it doesn't require a lot of money per se, but having somebody who will be helping training at least one or two people within that non-academic institution to help with submission is very good, because as somebody who submit grants, if I compare my academic institution and then I compare with others in non-academic institutions I work with, I get a lot of help when I am submitting, because there are things that I don't spend much of my time working on. I can focus more on the research, whereas people who don't have that kind of support from their institutions, you have to look at the technical aspect. Now we also have to look at the administration aspect that relate to the grant. And I can tell you it is very, very tough. However, with more support, I think you can do that. If for some reason you don't have that and you can also make it work for you, a better option would be to partner with an institution you have been working with. You become a co-investigator or co-principal investigator. The same money you may be asking could also come even as a co-principal investigator if the support is not that high from your end. So that is what I would say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was wondering if there are any resources that can be sent, maybe approved grants that one can use as a reference for those type of interventions. I think that will be helpful too, because I think on the platform, most of the grants there are mainly the academic ones and not the intervention-based ones. So if we can have like just some samples or something to guide how future grants can be written, I think that will also be helpful. Thank you.
It depends. Usually, sometimes people don't want to share their funded project. However, with the National Institute of Health, for example, in the US, you can request from some of the those who have won some of the grant, you can request for it. But I think it's something that you have to really do it in a manner which is very, very, it's not like you see this guy, oh, can you give me your grant proposal? You need to cultivate that kind of relationship with a person. And I can also think of it as one of the options will be, as you look at people who have gotten the grant and you are partnering with them, they will be more willing to share than somebody who don't know you. And then you are asking that the person should send that particular application to you. I will also say some funders can annotate, they do some, they will anonymize some kind of proposals, and then you can tell, even the National Institute of Health, which is the NIH in the US, there are some intervention-based studies. Yes, they may have been led by those in universities, but now university researchers can also get that. If you want examples of that, I think I can, as we are doing this right now, I can look up for those that the NIH has shared for potential applicant. But again, you may think of it as academic, but they are still something for intervention. So it should work. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bernard.
thank you.
Sorry,
Bernard.
sorry,
I
before,
wanted to
sorry,
add
before
that,
you go, Sepsu,
yeah.
yes, I've shared the link because I just checked the NIH. So I saw they have some samples in behavioral research, application in cancer epidemiology and implementation science. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
thank you.
can look at it.
And Bernard, once he registered with the portal of the NIH, he would virtually see every kind of grant he wants and even the style of it. He can even access past grants that were approved and see how some of them were actually conducted based with their management.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Hello, please, can I also contribute to that? I'm Dr. Aneyo, one of the facilitators. For him also, I think there are other platforms too. If you are looking for intervention grants, you can also join some of the United Nations partnership platform. There are lots of, they post lots of application or call for application on those for intervention programs on those platforms. So if you are, maybe now that we see other people showing interest in that, maybe on some of our hubs in Nigeria, we'll start posting something related to intervention grants on those platforms too. Then another thing you can also do, it is always good. You cannot, in most cases, it's not always good to work in isolation. So it's better you identify people of like minds, that can, pulling heads together also can also assist. So you try to identify people in your field. Also, now research is now going more multidisciplinary. So you also identify people also. It's not necessary you have to know them. Just send mail. The world is now global. So send mail to people that they can assist you in something related. And I wish you all the best anyway. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So can we have the questions from the chats?
Okay, so the next question is from Anne. Anne is asking, there are so many social media users ready to steal someone's idea. How do you check for the credibility of the RFP and be sure that the request is not for online scammers? That's a question from Anne.
Okay, no problem. I'll do that.
Yeah, maybe as people are thinking, I think one of the examples that were given in the lesson that we learned this week, you saw there is a series, a list of grant funders. So it's always good to look for funders who are known. So if you find a funder who is not known, you want to ask from your peers, you want to ask maybe from your supervisor or somebody who has experience for them to be able to know if that funder is a scammer. Although I've not seen, these, but mostly I think funders are known, and you could use the list that was shown in the lesson. I will put it in the chat box very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Joseph Chukwuocha, can we hear from you? Unmute yourself. Thank you.
Hello, good day, everyone. Joseph is my name. I work in a non-research, non-academic setting, intervention grants. That's what we do. But my question, firstly, thanks, Bernard, for responding to Dr. Mohammed's question. I think that addressed the question I have. I actually posted it on the chat. But just a request I want to make. I haven't gone through the content of the training. I discovered it's really structured to academic research grants. But there's a request. Is it possible somehow to tilt it a little bit so that non-academic people who engage in grants, like us who do intervention and projects, can also benefit from it? Of course, I know the principle is the same. Principle of research, academic and grant, they are the same, but the content, the particulars are different. So if somehow you can tilt, not really trying to shift away from the structure of the training, but somehow, since we can see that a good number of participants here are actually in the field doing intervention grants, that's a request. Thank you. Hello,
I can
hope
answer
my
this
comment is
question.
clear.
Yeah. Maybe I can answer this question. Hello, I'm the course coordinator. So this course is primarily for research grant proposal writing, meaning for academic purposes and scholarships. So it's not for non-academic purposes. There will be lessons you can take away from this course for non-academic purposes, but primarily it will be geared towards research grants, as this is primarily for early career researchers. Yes, I hope that answers your question.
There's another question in the chat box from Ronald. So Ronald is asking, is from Makerere University, Uganda. My question is, what must undergraduates do to receive grant proposals? And also, what criteria must someone consider while choosing the collaborators to join the team? That's Ronald's question. Any of the facilitators can answer. I think we had a similar, it was covered in the lesson, so maybe one of the facilitators can answer any.
Sorry, I don't want to be talking too much, but if someone is talking, no one is answering, I will be happy to quickly answer this question. I think the one who asked the question is very, very, very brave to ask that. I mean, definitely as an undergraduate student, one would expect that you shouldn't be competing with, the top people in terms of expertise and things like that. But to have the mentality is very, very, very great. I think when it comes to grant writing, it doesn't matter whether you are undergraduate or you are you are highly you have so much of a higher degree. However, it just calls for the nature of the grant. And sometimes you just need to know that after reading the application, you have the qualifications that you can do. Although it will be very, in general, one who is an undergraduate student may not have gotten the kind of educational opportunities that others who may have actually risen higher may have. So I would say that, yes, it depends on the type of grant. Some of them are maybe fellowship grants. If they are fellowship grants and say you want to go and do masters, for example, or PhD, of course, it's also a grant writing thing. And you just have to look at the requirements of the funder and see whether in the first instance you actually qualify to apply. Now, if you qualify to apply for, you have to do your best to, as our speakers have said, provide them with information that would require that indeed they should fund you, because it's so competitive. And so you don't want to also waste your time, write something that you don't have a very strong chance of getting. But as long as you look at the requirements and you qualify, just do your best. It's a whole lot of things you need to know before you can write. So you will have to read more about grant writing, get some experience from others who may have also gotten grant before, especially if you're undergrad and you want to get a grant for, the kind of research scholarship grant type. You need to be speaking with people who may have gotten some before. If those people, you can get hold of some of them. And then also you can go to the institutions and see the caliber of people who are getting, and then compare yourself with them and see, okay, do I also, can I be like this person in the near future? So, yeah, you need to be very much looking for some of these opportunities, and don't ever think that because of your level, you can't. Just look at the proposal and see the extent to which yourself, I mean, your ability to compete with others, whether you can. And if you can, go for it. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you,
Bernard. Yeah, so in addition, the second part of the question that Ronald also asked was that what kind of, while choosing collaborators, what kind of team must he have? In week 3 and week 4, we are having unit 3 and 4. We actually have specific lessons for collaborative grants, but generally the same specifications that Bernard gave. The collaborators need to have the qualifications, the papers, the CV, everything must be able to tell or to build. So as we put together a team, we must put together a team with similar or with specialties that actually supplement or give you an advantage in terms of gaining the grant. So I think grant funders usually want a multidisciplinary, team. Okay, so I don't know if I can go through. We have about 8 minutes, Miriam. So I don't know if you want me to run through. Maybe we need to take the questions quickly. I could run through a few, maybe 2 at a go, and then people can answer, and then so we can finish on time. Is that okay?
It's okay. Go ahead.
So,
we have only 8 minutes.
So Charles. Okay, so Charles was asking, my question is, how do you go about having limited research experience in a CV for grant application? So I think this question was answered already. And then, yeah, then why not use a basket instead of CV? So I don't know, Dr. Gambo, I think, I don't know if it's the, I don't know if you're answering a question or.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Thank you. I think it's all right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, then the next question is from Damaris. My question is, what if you do not have research-related experience and you have not served in any leadership or supervisory position? What do you write in your CV and what are your chances? Obviously, chances of winning a grant. So that's from Damaris. And then the other question, I'll do the other one and then we can answer. Oh, it's actually a response. So Tahiti was actually responding to. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can take that one. So the question is, if somebody does not have experience in leadership or supervisory position, what do they write in their CV? Any facilitator can answer that quickly, so we can go to the next question. We have about 6 minutes. Okay, so
I think you should just be honest and write, because that is the essence of it. Somebody should be honest to express exactly he didn't have experience. And it's just like the first answer, which Bernard actually explained to the first graduate who was trying to seek for a grant. Usually, you have to start with a mentor who will carry you along, and then basically, even the first degree research proposal you have written is the first step that will teach a student actually how will you go about writing a research and then up to the level of getting a grant. So if there is no experience, then I think to me is just be honest and write what exactly you are, what is your skill and what is your state of experience.
Thank you so much. So the next question is from Amusi, from Ethiopia. My question is, what kind of grant proposal is recommended for beginners in grant proposal? Is there any special way that must be followed or to be considered? How beginners in grant proposals should promote their proposal to funders? So any ideas of beginners, what kind of grants?
Thank you. Is there anyone that wants to talk? Because our time is ticking fast. Yes, when you want to write a grant proposal, there's always instructions on the call for proposals. And if you're new, you haven't written one, when you write, you give someone to read for you. It depends on the kind of grants. There are personal grants. There are grants you work as a team. Here in Nigeria, you have the PI and other people. They will mentor you, and there are parts you take and write. But if it's just a single grant, you give someone who is experienced, like other facilitators have said, a mentor who will guide you and what you do. Say, do it this way, do it this way, and you move ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so I think your question also answers, I mean, your response also is an answer to Dr. Haji's question. He was saying what is expected from someone who has no experience winning grants previously. So I think this also suffices. And then Patricia says, please, are these requirements needed for a non-academic grant application? So I think this was also answered by Tabitha. And Ruby, when awarded this grant, what is the process after you to be in touch with the cash? So it's just asking, after you get the grant, then how do you manage? Yeah. I in the unit, so I think this question is going forward, although not specifically dealing with the lesson that we had this week. But I think there are specifications on how money is managed. It's a big topic, so I don't know if we, in the time that given, we are able to answer this question. So maybe we could pass. Yeah, but it can be answered, I think, in the last sessions, if that's fine. I think that was, there are several other questions that are actually repetitions of the questions that are already asked. So let me just see if there's any. So there's a question on the letter of intent. I think that has been answered. Structure of the letter of intent. This question has already been answered. Is there a generic way of writing grants? Most times, specific grant requirements are stated by the organizations that made a call for submission, like CSO. So I think
we have more 2 minutes.
The question, yeah. So I think every grant organization provides specifications. Okay, so I think. So I think I'll leave it here. Yeah, so maybe what we can encourage our participants is they please keep on asking these questions as you are going through the lessons so that we can be answering them in real time. Yeah, as you've seen today, there's a lot of questions, and I think in terms of answering all of them, we would not be able to answer in 1 hour. But what we can encourage you is to be asking questions through every day, and then we'll be responding in the chat, in the lesson on the platform. And then so that we can, just answer specific questions. And we want to just make sure that we have questions related to the week's lesson that we have. That would help us to, have more knowledge on what we're learning, so we can encourage you to do that. All right, over to you, Miriam. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Tabitha, quickly, do you want to say something?
Sure. Yes, so a lot of people have been asking about recordings. The recording will be available in the same place where you access the session. So if you go onto the Moodle platform and click on where the live session is, you will be able to find a recording within about an hour or two when the live session has been processed. As Sapiso said, please ask your questions on the discussion forum, especially if it hasn't been answered today. Sorry if we couldn't get to your question, and thank you so much for your active participation. Yes, so the discussion forums are visited daily by our facilitators, and they will answer to you there to the best of their knowledge. The next live session is on Moodle, and I will share a live session schedule with you today so you know when the next live sessions are coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you for this effort.